Good morning, students. Today, we are going to discuss about the second part of the lesson one, resource. Clear. So, the last class we have discussed about a resource, what is the meaning of the word resource, and how do something become a resource. So, anything that satisfies the human need is a resource, and the utility is what is very important that makes the resource more valuable. And today we are going to discuss about the various classification of resources. As we have seen in the last class, the resources have been differentiated into or classified into three different types. That is a natural resource, human resource, and human-made resource. My dear students, here, please don't get confused with what is a human-made and human resource. Human is we ourselves. We ourselves a resource. And human made is nothing but that the structures that are made by the human. For example, let us take the buildings and the vehicles. We will discuss about this in a later class. So please here don't get confused with what is a human and human made resource. Now we are going to discuss about what is a natural resource. As you all know that, and all those resources that are drawn from the nature are known as natural resource. We get many natural resources like water, land, soil, and all those things are also a resource, a natural resource. For a few natural resources, we use them, we use it with a little bit of modification. And for a few natural resources, we don't use it with a little bit of modification and we use it as it. So when I speak about these natural resources, again, these natural resources have been differentiated on the basis of the origin, utility, and development and their distribution. So as I told you earlier, here they have been differentiated into based on their origin. So, biotic resource and abiotic resource are the two different categories that are differentiated based on the origin. So, what does mean by bio? Bio, it means life, a resource. Any resources that has a life on it are known as biotic resource. I mean, living things. For example, animals, plants, and human beings. A, biotic resource. So, what I mean by A is nothing but without. A bio means life. So, without life, any resources which do not have a life on it or a non-living things are known as abiotic resource. Example, land, water, and air. So the next type of classification of natural resources is based on their distribution. We can classify them into ubiquitous and localized. Ubi, it means everywhere, found everywhere. So the word itself suggests the answers that any resources or the resources which are found everywhere in the earth are known as ubiquitous resource. On the other hand, the resources that are found at only certain places are known as localized resources. So let's take an example. This land, air, and water and soil are found everywhere on the earth. Land, air, and soil. So these resources comes under ubiquitous resource. And take an example of iron ore and copper, and these are found only at certain places and localized area. So this type of mineral resources comes under localized resources. And based on the renewability, we can differentiate them into two different types. That is renewable resources and non-renewable resources. The word renewable, it itself says that it has the capacity to renew again or replenish again very quickly. Or renewable, it can regenerate very quickly within a particular period of time. So such kind of resources which can be renewed or replenished very quickly are known as renewable resources. Solar, example, solar energy, wind energy, forest, soil, etc. These resources comes under the renewable resource. On the other hand, non-renewable resource, which means they cannot be renewed. They do not have the capacity to replenish very quickly. They need millions and hundreds of years to get renewed. So such kind of resources which cannot be replenished very quickly or which cannot be renewed are known as non-renewable resources. For example, coal, petroleum, iron ore, etc. comes under the non-renewable resources. And the next type of basis of classification on natural resources is based on the development. Here, actual resource and potential resource. So actual resource, it means the actual amount, the particular amount. So here when we're discussing about the resources, are the resource whose quantity is known as actual resource. Let's take an example of iron ore in India, a coal in India, or a coal in Germany. These are the resources where the actual quantity of the resource is known and which can be developed and which are in use are known as actual resource. It means the quantity, actual amount of quantity is known. This kind of resources whose actual quantity is known comes under the actual resources. What do you mean by potential resource? It means whose quantity is not known and have been not utilized so far. For example, the uranium in Ladakh is a very good example of this potential resource, because we do not know the actual quantity, the entire quantity present in the Ladakh, the uranium. We have not used so far. And next, we don't have any advanced technology to use that particular resource in a very full-fledged manner. And the solar energy in Gujarat and tidal energy in Gujarat and solar energy in Rajasthan, these are the potential energy whose entire quantity is not known, and we don't have any full-fledged advanced technology to use that in a full-fledged manner. So such kind of energy resources whose entire quantity is not known comes under the category of potential resources. For example, uranium in Ladakh, solar energy from Rajasthan, and tidal energy in Gujarat are the examples of potential energy. And the next topic is human-made resource. As I told you earlier, we should not get confused with what is a human resource and a human-made resource, because human is we ourselves and human-made is the resources that we acquire from the nature and we make it. The resources which are made by the humans. How do we make some resources? Because we get resources from the nature and we modified with the time and technology, as we have studied in the first part of this chapter of resource. So with the use of a time, with the use of technology and with the time, we human have made those resources into the utility of human needs. And such kind of resources are known as human-made resource. For example, buildings and the roads that we use for transportation and the vehicles. So even the technology is also the human-made resource with the time. So human-made resources are those resources which are made by the humans. And what is a human resource? And we ourselves are a resource, because we have the potential to multiply the natural resource with the help of time and technology. We humans, we ourselves are a resource. And what are the two important things which are very important in making a human a resource? And that two important things are education and health. And this education, a better education and a better health, a sound body is the very important factors that make a human a very valuable resource. And that is why we focus on improving the quality of the people's skill, the human developmental index. We give very good education and we take care of the health. The government is playing a vital role in protecting the health of the people and giving the very good education, because this education and the health are the valuable resources that make a human a resource. And the last topic is sustainable development. So what do you mean by sustainable development? In a simple manner, I can explain that sustainable development is nothing but a judicious utilization of the resources. Because we have studied about the natural resources, there are many resources, they are renewable and non-renewable. So no problem with the resources of renewable, and if it is a non-renewable resources, we need thousands and hundreds of years to get replenished. So here, if we, the generation of this 21st century, if we use all those resources according to the needs and greeds of the people, have you ever thought about the future generations? No, my dear. If you're exploiting the resources, you're using it as if that we can use in a full-fledged. So, my dear students, there are many resources that they are non-renewable. So, it is the need of the time that we should use these resources in a judicious manner. It means to use the resources for our needs and to leave some resources for the future generation. And that is nothing, that is about sustainable development. It means if you find the resource, if you know how to use the resource as if that how much that you can. and you should leave some resources for the usage of the future generations. So such kind of development is known as sustainable development. In conclusion, I could say that judicious utilization of resources and to leave something for the future generation is a sustainable development, because we are in need of the time, because we are needing a time of using water a resource, but yet water a resource, a renewable resource, but yet it is a scarce resource. So my dear students, use those resources in a judicious manner so that the future generations can too enjoy those resources. And with this, we have completed our chapter 1. Thank you, students.